Hey there, Sarah here, and I just bought a bunch of stuff from Five Below, a bunch of crochet kits. This video will be about Halloween 2 Micheal Myers. I'll be opening up very shortly, but I also want to show you a couple other things that I bought, and I will be posting videos about these also very shortly. So then we got Friday the 13th, the Jason mask and knife, and I've got a knitting kitty and a knitting pumpkin, also stitch. It's a little cute little pumpkin stitch here. And then I also bought a couple other knitting croissant and corn dog. I might post these after Halloween, maybe before. I don't know. But this video is about Halloween, and I'll be opening this box right now. Okay, this is the Halloween 2 Micheal Myers crochet kit opening. And so I will open him up, and then we're going to see what's inside of Micheal Myers, because, you know, he wants to see what's inside of you. We'll see what's inside of him. And so we've got our crochet hook and some yarn into this package. So we got our crochet hook, 3.5 ml. Focus. Well, that's what it says. If not, and we got maybe its eyeballs here. Pop them out. You got little eyeballs. We don't want to use a lot. And yeah, needle to do our sewing like a lot. Some yarn here. Got some brown yarn for his hair. We got stuffing. And we got this navy blue yarn, like so. And some white for his face mask. And then we got our instructions here. Let's get that in. Okay. First, there's a reference guide. It's best to always just look over your reference guide, see the abbreviations, and what kind of stitches you need to do. Mostly use single crochet. SC for single, but you could also use some of these other stitches in your work. So a little guide that tells you what each one is. And then, of course, we got our main instructions. And we do see it is mostly single crochets. And so it's the different body parts. And so I'm going to put them together right now. So at first, his head's starting to be this big circle, and it's flat. So hopefully, as I keep going around, it should curve up and around. Okay. Now it's starting to curve. It's curving inwards. I do actually need to flip it this way because this is the wrong side and this is the right side. I'm going to continue crocheting around, and his head is coming along. Now it's starting to form a circle as I go. Just so if you're doing this along with me, this is what it's looking like for me. I get a little lazy with moving and removing the stitch marker, so I just leave it here, and then I kind of gotta just go up on the stitches like this to know where the beginning of my row is. I do remove the stitch marker and put it back up when I start doing my decreases.
And the decreases form that head shape.
Okay, the pattern doesn't tell you when to stuff, but before the hole gets too small, you want to just stuff it up. I can add more stuffing as I go along too. And I just keep on working around with the stuffing inside. All right, and here is my head.
For the knife, I just attached the the gray yarn to the handle and started making a chain. And I'm just gonna make my knife just like this. I think that's what the instructions say to do. And the knife is coming up all curly. Hopefully when I add the red to it, it should straighten it out a little better.
Okay, so here is his cute little knife. Look how adorable. And I like having the little extra blood drippy thing there. I think that makes it look a little more scarier. Now the problem with this knife is it's flimsy. I mean, that's how scary is that, right? So I do have some floral wire, and I am just going to stick this in here like so.
I just weave the wire in between the yarn. I kind of just fiddle it with my fingers and try to figure something out so that way it's in there.
So with putting the wire in, you want to be careful, because if this was going to be a toy for a child to play with, which Michael Myers shouldn't be a toy for children to play with, but if you were, they could poke themselves. So I wouldn't put wire in child's toys. But if you're just making it for, yourself, a little display, Halloween decoration, whatever you want, perfectly fine. And then after I sew his hands on, I just stick this right like that in here. There we go.
All right, I ran out of black yarn, so one of his shoes is bigger than the other. But the good thing is the black yarn and the navy kind of blend together, so hopefully I'll have enough navy to attach the legs together. Well, first I made 2 legs, and then I'm going to attach them with a stitch marker, and then I'm going to crochet around the legs, like crochet them together. The stitch marker kind of keeps them in place while I start doing my crocheting around. I stick my crochet hook through the one leg, and then I go into the next leg here, and then I'm going to yarn over and grab that yarn and pull it through both of the legs here. And then I'm going to complete my single crochet, even though I have 3 on the loop because it's through both of the legs. I'm just going to put the yarn through both the legs once I get it through. And then I'll complete my single crochet here. So it's like 1 single crochet through both of the legs, and then keep going around the next leg until I get to the back of the legs where they're attached, and then repeat that process of crocheting through them. So if I did it properly, there shouldn't be any holes up in between them. That stitch marker helps me keep an eye on where I need to stick my crochet hook into. Then I start to stuff the legs before they get too big or too deep. Just makes it easier, and I don't have to stuff way down in it later. So I just start stuffing as I go.
Okay, so I got bad news. I'm out of the navy blue yarn. And so this is how his body is looking. And this is how much yarn I got left. Not enough. So his head, because there's also supposed to be a collar. And so his head's definitely, it's really big for the body. I have tons of the white yarn. But I mean, that's just gonna be weird and it's not gonna work. I also gotta make his hair, which, I mean, that looks like plenty of yarn for the hair. So they definitely did not properly measure the yarn out. So in my yarn kit here, I bought this off of Amazon. It has a bunch of yarn that's approximately the same size as this yarn, and the closest color I have to navy is maybe a dark green. So we have the dark green, and then I don't know how that would look because the blues are too. He's definitely not gonna look right with like a bright blue on there on him. So there, and I'm out of black. Okay, wait, I forgot. I had this other random bag of yarn. And so in here is where I stuffed some navy blue. So this might work. It's a little still bluer than this blue. It's a dark brown. I don't know if that's scary enough, guys. So definitely the kit's a fail. Because if we don't have enough yarn, what is the point? Another option I have is this Red Heart black yarn. So it's definitely thicker. And of course it's black and not dark blue. But maybe that would blend the best with them. So what are we thinking? Thinking definitely this navy. It's going to be my best option. I bought it in some random yarn kit I bought a couple years ago off of Amazon. If you want to do a lot of different like crocheting and different amigurumis, it's nice to have this extra yarn around if any kits you do have don't have enough yarn. So probably gonna have to invest in something like that. All right, further looking. You know, it's Micheal Myers. It's supposed to be scary. And so I think the black's gonna be my best bet. So he still has a collar to make around. All right, so I took some time to think about it. And so I'm just gonna finish him up. I'm just gonna use this other navy to finish up the top part of his body. And then I'm gonna cover him. Really try to hide the difference in the colors with this black collar. So hopefully he won't look too weird. But I mean, he's supposed to look scary, so Hopefully it looks scary. Okay.
For the collar, I'm just going to ignore the instructions, the pattern, and I'm just going to do my own thing by just making a chain here, measuring it around, because the yarn I have is a little bigger than the yarn I'm supposed to work with. So I'm just going to probably just do a single around his collar and just measure it up against him just to see, I don't know, make my own custom thing here. I think that's my best bet with not having enough yarn. But I'm just gonna make do with what I have and hopefully it looks good. For the hair, I just, crocheted a circle and then it says to make a chain of 14 and then single crochet 13. And it took me a minute to realize what I had to do with the pattern. So basically I'm making the chain and then I'm going to single crochet down the chain, skipping, the first one from the hook, and then I should have 13 stitches in my hair strand. Then the pattern just says to make 30 hair strands. So I'm going to just do a slip stitch in the next stitch here. And the directions weren't clear about that, but I'm assuming I'm just going to do a slip here and then go on and make another chain. And eventually I should get to 30 little hair thingies around the circle. This is what it looks like when I completed, and I'm going to leave a long strand of yarn here so I could sew it in onto his head. So I just use this yarn here to do my sewing. And I'm just going to sew it straight from the top of his head. Kind of stick my needle in and making sure I go through the head and the hair. And just keep going around until I'm out of yarn, and I double check and make sure that it's attaching to the head here. Just kind of pull the string a little tighter, and I just keep going around. And now I'm going to just pull a few of his hair strands back, giving him a comb over to cover up the flat kind of bald spot on him. Because Michael Myers, his mask or his hair is just very like wild and strangly, not neat, not flat like this is. So he just has this kind of, might even be like a wig type thing attached to the mask. I know the mask is originally a William Shatner mask painted white, and I just sewed those hair strands that I pulled back down with a brown yarn, and I kind of uncurl some of the hair, kind of pull on them. Time to put the eyes on. And for the eyes, I'm just gonna place them where I like them best. This is my doll, my project. I'm gonna put the eyes where I want to. And if I slant the eyes a little bit, he looks a little more evil, a little mad, a little angry. So I'm going to give his eyes just a little slant here. Just play along and see where I like the eyes. and he is looking quite scary. These eyes is just a little felt with a peel back. And I'm just going to stick them on to his head. Okay, for the eyebrows, I'm going to stick my needle into the side of his head, and then I'm going to pull it out to where I want his eyebrow to be. And I'm going to, I don't know, just eyeball and kind of figure out where I want that eyebrow. Go in one end and then come out across to the next eyebrow here. Just pull that through. And the eyebrows are a little crooked here, so I'm going to do a different approach. And this time, I'm just going to do them one at a time instead. So I'm just going to rip these eyebrows out. And this time they look better. So I just did the one eyebrow by sticking it into the side. And then the other one, I'm sticking the needle into the other side of the head. And so for the ends here, I'm just going to tie them off. And then I'm going to just stuff it into the side of his head using a crochet hook, and just cut off the rest of that and stuff it in. And there we are. Time to attach the head to the body. And for this, I'm going to make sure his body's fully stuffed. So I'm just going to stuff him up, make sure he's good and stuffed before I attach that head. Since I have plenty of white yarn and I'm going to cover the neck up with the collar, I'm just going to use the white yarn to attach the head. And I kind of just, poke the yarn through the body and the head, and I kind of go around. I go around once, and then once it's attached, I kind of keep going around again to reinforce him, making sure that head is securely on his body and it's not going to fall off, because, he's not headless. He's Micheal Myers, not the Headless Horseman. And then I use some black yarn to attach that collar, because the collar, it covers up the white that I usually attach his head. And of course I attach the arms, which I did leave a little extra yarn on the arms when I made them. So now the knife, I am just going to stick it in just like that. And
here he is.
He's definitely scary.
Okay, here he is. He's Micheal Myers. All right, worst thing about this kit is I ran out of yarn. Best thing, he looks terrifying. I like him. He's gonna get me. Oh no! Overall, he was not that difficult to crochet, especially if you have a little experience. There's a few things that aren't fully clear in the directions, but if you have some experience, you kind of do what we've done in the past with amigurumi. This hair is so cute. Look at that hair. And the knife. And I liked, the knife was a little flimsy. I added that little wire to it, which helped. I also added a little blood on these little yarn drippies. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see me make more things. And leave me a comment and let me know what you think of him. And let me know if you bought this kit. Would you buy this kit? I believe they're sold out, but maybe they'll have some more next year. And I don't know if the yarn running out is only a problem for me. Maybe you tried it and you had enough yarn and somehow I messed up. So, all right, subscribe.